I belong to the band.
Live from the box. Here we are in Thurles, County Tipperary, 86.5 miles from somewhere, standing in the rain for you, our loyal viewers.
Feel our pain.
What's it like to be back in the bog, Francis?
Don't know. I've got all posh. I don't think they're worthy of me anymore.
Let's see what these fuckers have in store for us.
Judy.
Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Technolotics. We're here live in the very bograguous county of Tipperary and Thurles to be exact. We're here with Mel. What's your full name?
My name's Imelda Morton.
Hello Imelda, how are you doing? And Mel's going to tell us all about the Robocode Cup. Is that the full name?
The Robocode competition.
Oh, okay.
It's we've got 7 colleges from around Ireland and they all had their own rounds of the Robocode competition to see who could create the best robot to send to this Thurles final. And today we had 7 great robots. We're down to the semi-finals now. Basically what we do is we pitch 2 robots against each other in a battle. It's best of 5. Whoever can win 3 rounds wins the point for the match.
But these aren't concrete robots, they're some kind of software bots.
Oh no, they're all programmed. You get the teams, like about 5 members or less in each team, and they use software to create their robot. They move them around, they fire, but all this is programmed beforehand. They have no control over it before, like while it's going on. So they program what they want their robot to do.
So how do all these different programs interact? I mean, have you competed before yourself? Do you know the intricacies of the process?
I competed the first year of the competition. I got as far as the TI rounds just in the college, and me and one of my mates got into the final, and we were told that we couldn't go any further than the final because our robots weren't programmed enough, so we were cut dead there. So when we got to the competition with all the other colleges, there was another robot that was exactly the same as mine and Debbie's, so we weren't too happy about that, but hey.
Hint of scandal there.
Not holding a grudge. Not holding a grudge.
I don't hold grudges.
Okay, so how do these programs, obviously programs written by different people, how do they actually interact with each other and know that the other ones exist in this still kind of virtual world?
Well, the teams will program their robot to see if there's anyone near them or if there's anyone aiming at them, and they'll aim back. They'll move around the screen to avoid shots and spin, and some of the robots this year are fantastic. They move so much better than we ever thought in first year that we could do, so it's some great competition.
And it's all using Java, I think, is it?
Yeah, Java programming they use to create the robots, move them around, fire.
Sorry, my arm's getting a bit screwed. So who started this off, and whose idea was it originally, if you have a clue?
Oh gosh, no, it was used to be just a TI competition, and people from the software class and the multimedia class would create their robots in their Java classes, and they'd fight them, and whoever won that was the winner. And then 3 years ago it moved to an inter-college competition, so it's been fantastic, like the response we got from it. So I have to mention the programmers that are involved. It's Phil Burke and Liam Noonan. I know they're involved. And
So first TI, then the world.
yeah, we're going to dominate. We're going to have some fantastic robots coming up in the future.
So I noticed that the top prize for the victor is a laptop, but for their college, not for themselves. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's kind of sucky, I suppose. You do all the work and then your college gets the laptop. I suppose they'll get the use out of it, I'm sure, but they get individual prizes as well, so it's not too bad.
They get the Krellboyne Cup, presumably. So.
Sure.
Okay, well, we're going to be doing a few more little interviewlets with various people. Thank you very, very much, Mel.
Hello, we're back at Robocode, and with us now we have Peter Beneloff, who's created one of the Pitbots, or the only Pitbot. It's just one, isn't it? And you've created one of them. So, how does your Pitbot work, and how's it different from the rest?
Well, last year I saw that the sample robot Crazy, he has a really he moves a lot. He did very well in the melee, so I thought I'd kind of do the movements like Crazy's, like a bit different, but more or less the same.
Okay, so essentially your Pitbot it's out there to destroy anything and everything that comes across it, yes?
Yeah. Well, it's like Crazy, except it moves its turret a bit more and like.
Okay. So has anyone actually?
It's very simple. Like I just kind of made a better version of Crazy.
Okay. So has anyone beaten or destroyed your bot today?
Oh, it hasn't been in the competition yet.
Hasn't been. So you're saving for semi-finals, final.
Yeah.
Ooh, look out! So you're also involved in doing other programming. You've created a teaching program for kids.
Yeah, I did for multiplication addition.
And what age group was this for? Or obviously, it's pretty young.
Primary school, yeah.
Yeah. So is anyone actually using this program in any schools, or was it just something you created?
No one's using it yet. No.
You're gonna sell it to make millions. Can I have a job? Please?
No.
Damn it. Okay. Well, I've run out of questions. Gareth, have you anything to ask?
No one will ever hire Francis. This you've heard it here first. Okay, we'll be back.
Alright, I'm back and I'm here with Aoife and Louise, two students who were taking part in the game competition inside in Robocode. So, girls, what can you tell me about the competition? What were you actually doing?
You just had to answer like brain teasers, like finish the number line and stuff like that.
Okay, so pretty simple stuff.
No. It's quite hard. Yeah.
Okay, harder enough for me. Alright, thank God you were doing it, not me. Anyway, so obviously this Robocode thingy, not so scary, all these geeks.
No, it's grand. It's pretty interesting, but like I'd say it's harder than it looks like, just fighting robots on the computer, because I was here on a computer course and I had to program one, and it's hard because I'm not geek.
Okay, so just one kind of geeky question. So both just asked you're both addicted to Bebo, yes?
Yeah, I'd have to say I am. Yeah.
It's so, yeah.
Yeah, it's the big thing. So like, do you spend all day on it, or?
Not really, because my parents would actually kill me if I did. So about an hour that night.
No, I don't have the internet at home, so I can't. But I go into the internet cafe, especially for it.
Wow, you heard it here. These two are going to be in rehab any day now. All right, girls, thank you very, very much.
Okay, thanks.
For those of you that want to know what we're all about, it's like this, y'all. This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50% pain, and 100% reason to.
We're back. We're here again at Robocode, and we're here with Niall Connolly, one of the semi-finalists in the Robocode contest. How you doing, Niall?
How you doing? Cheers, great.
And how's the contest gone so far?
Oh, it's absolutely brilliant now. I thought we got further now than we thought we would, so it's definitely a good thing.
So what's your strategy? What's your edge?
Well, conceptually, the robot is extremely simple. There's not a lot of lines of code to it, but it does kind of very simple things well. It tries to keep out of damage, out of the path of damage as much as possible, and target the robot and only shoot when there's a likely chance of actually hitting the robot. So when the robot is quite close to us, we would apply a maximum damage bullet, and when it's quite far, we would a less damaged bullet, because it may hit, but it's more likely not to. And when it's very far, there's no point, because the chances of hitting would be very, very low. So essentially, what we would do then is base our strategy around that, avoiding damage as much as we can, and only shooting when there's a likely chance of actually getting a result.
And what kind of practice and training did you do for this event?
Well, being first years, so we would have, I suppose we would have to build it on logic, and we had, of course, looked at the API specifications for the robot itself. But what we did is basically kind of derive some sort of a logic for it, to see what can we do well without kind of going over time constraints. There's been a couple of iterations of the robot where kind of we tried to implement certain functions that just didn't come out, and if we were trying to implement them here, I don't think they would have worked out correctly. So we kind of went back to basics and said, do the simple things well and try and avoid damage that way. It seems to have paid off.
So what kind of kit does every kind of team get to prepare for something like this? Do they get an arena of their own to practice with? Or?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You get the Robocode. Actually, it looks pretty much exactly what you're seeing on the screen there. You get the exact thing there, and you get sample robots to fight against. So you would kind of get details for your robots, and you would code your robot, and to test it you would pit them against the computer robots that have already been coded, and if you find they do quite well, you can tweak it a little bit more and try and get the best result out of it possible. And that's exactly what we did with our development.
So what sort of percentage are you running in your practice runs back home?
In what way?
How many victories are you getting at that sample robot?
The sample robot can beat every robot. Our robot can beat any sample robot that we have there. So we kind of had a good idea that what we were doing was pretty good. So essentially, that's the main thing that we did. We can beat any of the sample robots on the computer. So basically, that's kind of the best way to go about that.
Any questions, Francis?
Just how confident do you feel you're going to win?
Chuck Norris is exceptionally kind of clever robot, I suppose, is the best word to give it. It must have a lot of code in it, and there's a lot of thought gone in behind it. And just when we faced the robot and we lost, there were certain things that our robot did that Chuck Norris took advantage of. So what we tried to do in the pit was try and minimise that amount of things that actually caused us a lot of damage in the fight. So we're kind of confident, but I'd say I wouldn't really expect it.
Okay. Well, I think I'm done. Gareth?
Okay, well we'll let Niall get back to the contest, and best of luck with it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm back again with John Barrett here from DIT with his, well, not actually with, his robot, which is called Spinning Banana.
That's right, yeah.
Unusual name.
Yeah, it just kind of popped up randomly. Our radar is kind of banana shaped, and we ended up changing it yellow one day, and it kind of looked like a banana spinning.
It all becomes clear. It all becomes clear. So, how does your robot differ from everyone else's? Like, how does it operate?
Well, essentially, we attempted to try and keep movement random, and what it does, it will try to strafe around the enemy, keeping in close. If you stay in close, it's a lot easier to target. It's a lot more accurate, and you can fire kind of higher powered shots and stuff.
Okay, so a typical kind of gamer strategy: get around behind him and shoot him in the back.
Well, it'd be handy if we could actually find it back, but they tend to be facing us as well. The competition is quite good. It's quite strong.
So was this like the first strategy you came up with, or did you try out a bunch?
Yeah, there were a few. They were kind of staying to the walls. It's you get kind of more range for movement there, so it's a lot easier to avoid shots. And in melee combat, it tends to be a lot easier to stay around the edge of the arena. But yeah, we ended up with the strafing one because it seemed to be quite successful on other bots we had a look with, you know.
Okay, so you tried out a couple and then you thought, okay, we're going to submit this one.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
Alright, so after doing this, and essentially what you're doing is kind of creating artificial intelligence or a little kind of bot that, you know, if you developed it up, it could be something that would play in Half-Life or something like this. It's much the same idea. Would you be interested in getting into kind of games programming or AI after this?
I would, but I'm not sure I'm capable of it, you know. I found this quite challenging, you know, but I don't know. I'd say the more I learn, the more I'll get into it, you know. I'm not sure I'm ready to be creating Half-Life bots yet, you know.
Not quite. Although the ones I was playing I thought were pretty crap.
Alright, yeah, well, mine would be too, so I wouldn't worry about it, you know.
Alright, well, coming soon to a game near you, Spinny Banana Bots. I'm Francis, and this is John. I'm here with Andrew and Alan, the winners of Robocode 2006, with their winning robot, Chuck Norris. Interesting name, lads. You're fans of the Chuck?
Oh yeah, definite fans, alright. We also have friends who started a band inside in college in CIT called Chuck Norris Roundhouse Kick Experience. So as a tribute to them, who in turn give the tribute to Chuck Norris, we thought we'd pay our respects as well.
Alright, so you heard it here. Plug, plug, plug. And so, actually, like, I was watching the competition. What was the strategy your robot was following? Because we've talked to one or two of the other teams, and some of them were strafe or try and get behind people. So, what strategy did Chuck Norris follow?
Basically, it would measure like the enemy's energy, and if it was between 0.1 and 3, then we knew that the enemy fired a bullet, and then it would like move like twice as much, you know, than normal. So basically, it was like dodging bullets. Like it worked fairly well, like, and then we had 4 guns. We had statistics in there, enemy tracking, like everything. Unfortunately, we couldn't do the tweaking. There was meant to be a second tweaking session before the melee, but they ran out of time. So we had to go into the melee without, you know, we thought we had a second chance at, like, you know, and well, it worked out anyway, like.
Oh, so like yours was pretty sophisticated. Like it obviously was a lot of time and work. Like how much time do you think you put into it?
We were programming it for at least about 2 months anyway. We won the competition in CIT. You know, we did a small competition in CIT and we won that. And after that, we must have spent, you know, every weekend we'd exams coming up, and it was like there was no study done for exams. It was all Robocode. Yeah.
Wow, dedicated to the cause.
Maths teacher can contest to that, like.
Okay, so obviously after this, you're both doing computers, obviously. So obviously Robocode is related kind of to computer games, and obviously I'd say you can see what your program does is related to, say, bots in a game like Half-Life or something like that. Would you be interested in getting into kind of games AI after doing something like this?
Yeah, definitely very interested in actually pursuing like a game development career as well out of it. Really interested in gaming, and you know, I've been playing games, and the first reason I got into computers, into programming, and first it was, you know, for games. Like, you know, since I got my first Nintendo, I was, you know, really interested in it.
Yeah. That's where the money is anyway.
The big money.
And it's cool. So, thank you, Alan and Andrew. It's great, and congratulations. Hope big things from you in future. Alright, well, this is me signing off.
So you've rejoined us at the end of a long and exhausting day.
Whew.
But nothing compared to the long and exhausting day we're going to have trying to edit all of this insane crap together. No. I'm kind of glum because I threw in a bit of effort. I was a little bit flirty with some of the cute soldier ladies who were here earlier, but they shot me down as they're wont to do.
exactly. They had training. They saw him coming.
They learned how to take that sort of thing out in basic, so
Yeah.
I was no challenge.
Unarmed combat.
Heart removal with the hand.
One go.
I was doing pretty well there for a while.
Did you
though.
feel any pain, Gareth?
No, I didn't. I didn't even see it coming. Just chop.
It was a blur.
It was a blur.
There, your heart was on the floor.
It's a tragic case, really, but sure, what can you do? Alright, we fire into today's stories and ignore my ultimate humiliation. Okay, our first story, France is to open up the iTunes Music Store in a case which could have consequences for rippling across Europe for the iTunes Music Store and digital rights management in general. The French Parliament have voted in an act which essentially legalises the cracking of DRM. It enforces competition, so it means that all music files which are purchased online should, in theory, if this act is then confirmed by the presidency and the other elements of French government, should be able to be played on any player. So no longer will Apple be able to restrict iTunes songs to the iTunes player, and no longer will Microsoft be able to restrict Microsoft Store. Do they have a store?
Yeah, well,
who cares?
I remember Sony had a store and they had their own proprietary format as well, and obviously you could only play those on your Sony player, your Sony Walkman or whatever it's called. So I mean, it's a good idea because then you can buy a file from anywhere and you're legally allowed to crack it, essentially, because you have a player made by someone else and you're saying, I'm just using it myself, which to us seems like fairly
seems obvious.
Obvious that you should be able to buy from whatever store you want and play it on whatever device you want without actually, breaking the law.
Of course, heads are rolling all over the internet. People are screaming blue murder, saying iTunes will withdraw from the French market. It's a devastating defeat for business, etc., etc. Really, it doesn't matter, because if iTunes withdraw, there'll be a dozen companies to replace them. The only major problem is the record labels. They might say, well, we're not going to allow our music to be sold online. But the French government, if they really have the resolve, they'll just force that to be done too.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. Will they just go, ooh, isolate the French, ostracize them. You can no longer buy music in France. Ooh la la! No, mon Dieu!
Well, I think it'd be better if we could prevent buying French music abroad. Have you heard some of the French hip hop?
Yeah, it's meant to be. Well, could be pretty bad. It's terrible.
Okay, moving on. Wired. Yeah, Wired have some information about that. You can check it out on our wiki, as always. It'll have more wide-reaching consequences, kind of to any media sold and restricted. So it could also have consequences for PVRs and other devices, where today cable companies are deciding what you can and can't record and what your TiVo or equivalent can save and for how long. Whereas in France, if this act is maintained and upheld, this sort of behaviour probably won't be allowed, so you'd have more control over your media. So it's pretty good already.
It'll definitely give people more control over the content they purchase online or obtain through other means. And definitely, I
like that, obtain through other means.
Yeah, well, like recording with the PVRs and things like that. I mean, that's not quite down the road. Yeah, but I mean, if you own a legal copy, you should be able to use it. I mean, in some ways, it's enshrining fair use into the kind of French constitution that you can make a certain amount of copies, or, well, it's not saying that, but you can use it on the device you want to use it on without being restricted by Apple Steve Jobs going, no, use my iPod. No.
Yeah, I think a lot of companies, they scream DRM. We need it because piracy. But of course that's nonsense. Piracy occurs no matter what DRM system is employed. None are successful. And what they're really doing is they're preventing competition. They're getting a stranglehold on a given market and locking it in with the embrace, extend, extinguish
strategy famously employed by Microsoft to say, yes, we support something, then go, we'll just add on a couple of bits ourselves, and only we will support it, and then slowly edging it out by going, yes, you can only use our extended bits and our version of Java, C++, whatever you want to call it, and then they control it.
Well, of course it's not compatible. You didn't buy Microsoft software.
You don't use Microsoft Java. Microsoft C++. Yes, you're not using the Microsoft Internet. Get off!
Indeed. Okay, moving on to our next story. This is something I think which is pretty momentous, but it's a really hard one to explain. So try and explain it. A guy called Ron Nern, who we hope to have, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, very strange name. We hope to have him on the show someday soon. He has produced a piece of software called OPOD, and it is the world's first OPML feed grazer. And there's now several grazers, but his was the first, and in my opinion, it's the sweetest. What this does is, using Ajax, JavaScript and XML, it browses through OPML feeds and the RSS feeds that they contain, and the posts that those feeds that contain, and it just continually allows you to go deeper and deeper into those feeds and to view them. At the moment, it's kind of a plug-in for things like WordPress and websites, so you can include this in your website. But I see this as the future of much, much more.
Yes, you do have big ideas of this, and he's been raving about it all week.
I've been raving and I've been ranting. I think that this could be the future of the web browser. I think this could provide a dynamically generated, dynamically generated OPML outliers which contain elements of the web, your web, other people's webs, constantly deriving content, building things like Google News from live websites and from networks of websites, and allowing a whole new interface to navigate history, to navigate connections between websites, and to compile and study vast amounts of information really, really quickly. I have an article about it on my website. Go and check it out. Alright, dvspin.com.
Plug. Again.
Okay, moving swiftly on. We hope to have Rowan on the show soon to help us present the weekly news, and we probably will. I think he just doesn't want to be asked anything about this because he's just such a modest guy. But it's a pretty cool invention, so check it out. That's OPOD.
Okay, our next story comes from the UK.
Oh dear.
Oops.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Oh dear, we dropped something. Is it still in one piece? Quick.
Craziness. That's okay.
It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Next one regards the podcasting rule book, which has been introduced in the UK. So, the Mechanical Copyright Protection Society and the Performing Rights Society launched a licensing scheme for music podcasters in the UK. So, if you have a podcast and you want to put music in it, like your favourite bands, or, ooh, this band is really cool and I want to big up them, you finally can by getting big up them. Big up them.
You're so black.
Yeah, I know, it's terrifying. I disappear at night. I'm that black. Anyway, what you can do now is you can actually insert a certain number of tracks into a podcast, but the music must not represent more than 80% of the program. You must talk over the first 10 seconds of the song and also the last 10 seconds of the song, and you must avoid revealing a cast musical content in metadata. So essentially, if someone is trying to find a track and rip it out of your podcast, you can't really alert them to that fact. Essentially, so just the fans who are listening to music will listen to it, not the pirates. Nar. So, while all this sounds wonderful, the problem is that songs are charged at 1.5p per song per download. So that means that if you have a podcast, and yeah, maybe you're moderately successful, but suddenly you hit the big time, you get the next big band, and they've suddenly been signed up. Suddenly 50,000 people download your podcast. That's 50,000 quid the record company's going to be coming looking for you from. And obviously, you don't have that kind of cash to be throwing around. So that's quite a problem still, and I think, you know, podcasts that have music are still going to be to unsigned people and with essentially, you know, podcast safe music. You know, people who actually say, okay, you can use this for a podcast, and you know, people can rip this out and it's allowed. But otherwise, I don't think too many people are going to take this on, and it's just going to end up with like the same people who are already podcasting with music, which are radio stations who can't afford this. So I mean, really all it helps is radio stations to syndicate and podcast all their radio shows, which means you get to listen to drive time radio all day long and all night and on your iPod. Hooray! Horrible.
Yeah, it's ironic. I mean, the radio stations get payola. They're getting cash to play songs, whether officially or not, and whether in kind or in cash. Whereas podcasters are actually paying to play the music to advertise the product sold by the recording industry. So fair, maybe not. The restrictions here, some of them are pretty reasonable. I think not tagging the file so it's broken up into the songs, obvious. That's a fairly reasonable one. But talking over the first 10 seconds and the last 10 seconds of every song, That's butchery. I mean, who wants to do that with music?
Yes, essentially, like, I mean, especially if you're trying to get out, like, a new song. I mean, if you're playing all the hits that everyone knows the words, yeah, sure, like they do on the radio. But, I mean, if it's something new where it's like, first play or listen to this new cool band, you know, you want to hear the whole of the track, not just, like, some guy nattering on at the start going, will you shut up? I want to listen to the music. So,
You're listening to the podcast.
Yo, rock on, this song rocks. And then the song goes, like, shut up. It's annoying. And it's one of the things that really bugs me about talk radio and drive time radio. So I think, you know,
It gets
same thing.
back to that same corporate strategy.
Goes
You know
back
your
again.
customers enough and they'll buy your products. No, they'll hate you and make alternative products. Ooh. It's not rocket science.
Yeah, it's not a great idea. And the thing is that this is probably going to come into this country so that we're going to maybe have podcasting licenses here, and whether people will actually adopt them, or that's truly the sign of whether these licenses will work, is whether people actually do start making new podcasts with music.
Yeah, as you say, it just means more Strawberry Alarm Clocks podcasts, more that FM 104 style podcast. And if that's your thing, fair enough. Off you go and enjoy your day fishing, because you are a fish. You'll be caught.
Indeed, truly original voices and, you know, truly original music will not get a chance. You know, it'll be just the same Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera played 50 million times in every single podcast because it's popular.
What a girl.
Boo.
Less than 7 seconds, fuckers.
Moving swiftly on, our next story regards the terrifying and sad story. Well, actually, it is really sad of a child who was snatched from the loving arms of his mother because she belonged to a parody religion called the Church of the Subgenius. And essentially, this lady, her son was taken away from her after a judge saw photos that were taken at a church event, which she was apparently dressed up in, possibly wearing a goat's head and semi-naked at times. But, I mean, what you do in the privacy of with your friends, events is your business. So, the judge made a decision that what he saw was bordering, which showed him that she was mental, essentially. He made the judgment that, yeah, this is nuts, you're insane, I'm taking the kid off you. Of course, he's not qualified to make any kind of judgment of that kind, because is he a qualified psychologist? I doubt it. So, rather shocking, the lady has also been verbally told by the judge that she cannot blog about this. So, essentially, she's been gagged. She cannot even go on the internet. That's insane. Crazy. So, we've got a crazy judge slamming down his gavel, going, no dirty pictures, no Church of the Subgenius, and no internet for you, no child either. Which is insane. Honestly, it sounds like you could make it up. But you didn't. I don't know, what do you think?
I think it sounds like a great religion. I'm going to join.
Yeah, totally.
Goats' heads, half-naked chicks, Christ, you know? That's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Well, it's a parody religion which makes fun of all other religions and actually blatantly are in it for the money. They claim to be blatantly in it for the money. And you can join and become a minister for just $30 for all eternity. And they said if you happen to go to hell at the end, or boring hell, you will actually get 3 times your money back from the founder of the church. Now, you can't get better than that.
He'll meet you at the gates of hell
Go
and
to
give you
heaven
the
or
inspection.
3 times your money back. Come on.
I think this is going to get them more members. I've never heard of this before, but I'm thinking of signing up and becoming an ordained priest of the Church of the Subgenius.
Yeah, definitely.
Fantastic.
A lot of celebrities. Bruce Campbell is a member.
Really?
Yeah. So a lot. Apparently, Frank Zappa was also very interested, but he never actually joined. He agreed with their kind of a lot of the things they do, but he didn't. He declined to join them. Still, for $30, be a minister.
I mean, would you rather be a member of the Church of the Copyrightology and be like John Travolta, or would you rather be like Bruce Campbell, shoot zombies and touch naked women with goats' heads? Yeah.
Hooray!
Oh, sounds like a weekend to me.
Yeah. So, yeah, essentially, I don't know. I think it's nuts that, like, this judge took away a lady's child and then, like, essentially took away her method of, like, speaking to anyone. I mean, it's like putting a gag on someone, you know, and locking her away somewhere. Okay, it's not quite as bad as that.
Kinky.
I mean, you know, maybe your blog is like a major part of her life. I mean, it's a major. It's like 2 kicks rather than one. I mean, she can't even like, you know, say or talk about what's been done to her. So apparently the lawyers that defended Larry Flint have taken on her case. So there may be hope.
Serious civil liberties implications, of course, of restricting that, talking about discussing your case, publicising your case, a case which is in court, but it's never been the case that a defendant could not even announce the existence of their case. It might be prejudicial in a jury case, but this isn't a jury case so far. So it's a very strange precedent set.
It infringes on her like rights to association, to be a part of a group. So I mean, essentially, in some ways, he's telling her, like, you can't be part of this group, or the consequence of being part of this group is your child is taken away and you're not allowed to blog.
Yeah. I think one of the things that really supposedly set the church off was he saw a video taken at the event where they were parodying Mel Gibson's The Passion, and the woman in question was carrying a cross, and lots of merriment was being had.
Yeah, it was a pretty strong parody of the Christ story, but...
It must be said that the judge in question is himself a devout Catholic, so his impartiality is certainly in question in this case, as is his sanity, and we can say that because we're in Ireland. I think you said the United Kingdom. If wishes were horses, just kidding. We're in Ireland, and he can't do anything to us. But he sounds like an evil psycho, to be honest.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to get in front of him for like parking tickets or anything like that. You're going to hell.
Restrict you from speaking for the rest of your life. You can't speak ever.
Ever.
Ha ha. Sod you.
Ha ha. What did you say? What did you say? Ha? I can't hear you. Speak up. Probably.
Okay, so that's our last story, because, you know, make room for the other stuff. So we have our media pimps. So you got a media pimp this week?
Ooh, I do. I have the Epica film winners for 2005. It's just something I came across. A bunch of really cool advertisements that were up for awards ceremonies. So, I mean, if you want to see the winners, which is pretty cool. Saw a Guinness one. That was feckin' amazing. I thought it was great. Really inventive. You know, usually ads are more entertaining than, or it can happen quite often that you're watching TV, something crap is on, and the ads are more entertaining than the show you were watching. It can happen occasionally. Most of the time.
You're what's wrong with society, Francis.
Thanks.
You're the reason Celebrity Big Brother exists.
No. Spawn of the devil.
Yeah. Especially that Peter guy.
I also have a second one. It's and actually the EFF are actually carrying out a campaign at the moment because Congress are currently bringing out a law, or they're thinking of bringing out a law that will essentially enshrine fair use into the US Constitution, which means that you will be able to rape your CDs to your computer and it will not be breaking the law. So they currently have a campaign where this website where you can essentially mail your congressperson and ask them to vote for this law. So I think it's a really good idea.
That's pretty dangerous, because what's going to happen is that process will be co-opted, and the law that's brought in might not be quite as free and fair as the legal precedent that already exists. So it's constitutional changes in the US, they're usually pretty end up pretty badly.
They usually go like, ooh, here's a good idea, and then someone else goes, hold on, can I tack on a bit of this onto it? And then they go tack, and they keep adding on little bits and change it, and eventually what ends up being passed mightn't be anything like what was first proposed, or the good idea, what was there, is just gone and been buried under a whole mush of crap. So, yeah, who knows, but I think the basic idea is good, I think, allowing people enshrine some idea of fair use into the Constitution, but whether it ends up happening is another question.
Cool. Okay, well, we're going to run through my media pimps. We have Geoffrey Chaucer hath a blog. This is a blog written by Geoffrey Chaucer himself from beyond the grave in ye olde Middle English, and you can ask Chaucer questions about himself, his life, or anything you want, if you like, and he will answer in his way, and it's very interesting to read.
Is it Cockney?
No, whenever you hear Middle English spoken, they always speak it like this. I don't know why. Maybe they didn't speak.
They all came from the same village.
Well, I don't know. How many Middle English people do you know?
None.
Shut up. Okay. You're a Man Now Dog is a kind of a bizarre website where users compete to create strange mashups of popular culture items which reference each other. It's an interesting one. It's kind of a specialist sort of site. Consummating is an indie dating site. Consummating.com. nerdy girl with glasses, I think, is the tagline or something like that. People are tagged, so it's basically like a delicious for hotties. But they all live in California, so if you're not in the States, then forget about it.
Or if you live in California, woohoo for you.
Yeah, what are you using a dating site for? You're a crab wing. Get out there and surf. And finally, a link to... two more things. Draw a pig personality test. You could draw a pig and then describe your drawing, and it completely accurately captures your personality.
Oh, wow. That sounds amazing and highly scientific.
Making full use of the Fourier effect, of course, but still entertaining nonetheless. Finally, a link to the banned South Park episode featuring copyrightology.
Oh, yes. Scientology, and apparently, well, allegedly causing Chef to leave the show, which we know is all lies, because actually Isaac Hayes is very ill at the moment. We hope you get better, Isaac.
In fairness, going to die, but fair play anyway. So watch it; it's a great episode, and it's a great part where they explain the history and the beliefs of Scientology, and they flash up on the screen. This is what Scientologists actually believe, and indeed
We're not making it up, and this is not a joke. This is what they actually believe, and it is pretty nuts what they believe.
It's pretty crazy stuff. Crazier even than the Church of the Subgenius, if you will. Okay, well, thank you.
Joining.
Definitely. Kapla. What is that? Isn't that Klingon? You crowboy! Anyway, okay, join us next week when we won't be anywhere special. And we won't be doing anything entertaining.
No, not at all. We'll just sit and stare at the camera for 30 minutes.
Alright, see you. Take care.